How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about this picture that's been floating around the internet all day today. It has a lot of folks mad, sad, triggered, butthurt, upset, whatever you want to call it. And if you have not seen that picture, I'll place it on the screen before you. What you're looking at right now are two mounted police officers arresting a guy for a criminal trespass. What they did was handcuff him and quote unquote tether a line from the handcuffs to the actual horse, and they walked him about 8 blocks or so to the actual squad car. Now, people are saying this is inhumane. You treating black men like slaves again, or like animals. You rounding them up, hog tying them, all this, that, and the third. But I don't think it's really that deep. This practice is something that they do. It's not like, oh, these guys are just out of pocket. This is actual department policy to do a thing like this. I mean, it makes sense. If you're out there on a horse and you're doing that patrol and you catch somebody, and you know, in the whole criminal trespass thing, you wouldn't be able to arrest them right there, get them cuffed up and bring them to the squad car. But you on your horse, so you can't just get off your horse, walk the horse and the guy. I mean, the way that that's done kind of makes sense. I mean, what else are you really going to do? Park the horses somewhere, tie the horses up, get the squad car, bring it back, put them in there, or put them on the back of the horse and really hog time so you can't escape or injure you. It seems like that might be the safest way to handle that situation just from the outside looking in, which is why there are black mounted officers in Galveston, Texas, and I've never heard about it being a problem. It's only been a problem right now because you see a picture online and people are getting offended. Some of the same folks who are offended are also offended by this whole thing of, you know, the children in cages and, or you can't put the baby in the cage and it got a little tinfoil blankets. It's like, come on. First of all, those quote unquote cages have been there for a long time. It ain't nothing new. It ain't something that Trump just started. In 2017, when he got inaugurated, they were right there in Obama's term. There's pictures floating around of these so-called cages that came from Barack Obama's term in 2014. The quote unquote cages are a way to effectively segregate certain people's, your men away from the women and the children, and to organize in a very tight space under a small budget. Okay. If you're building these little camps, these centers, whatever you want to call it, in a rapid fashion, you don't have time for all these little fancy holding cells and spending a bunch of money. It's funny how the left will talk about being fiscally conservative when it comes to building a wall. You know, like, oh, it's going to cost too much money. But then when it comes to actual border facilities where people are housed to get processed, to get medical treatment, food, water, clothing, etc., all of a sudden you want top tier conditions and you want posh living standards that the people who live in America do not have for themselves. These same quote unquote cages can be found in every penitentiary across America. Same thing with the single unit toilet sink combination. People like AOC talking about, oh, it's inhumane that you got to drink them out of a toilet. Well, you're not drinking out of the toilet bowl. It's a sink on top of the all-in-one fixture, which is the same thing they have all over the United States in penitentiaries. They also have it in regular everyday bathrooms in other countries. Japan, for instance. Okay. It's not an unsanitary thing unless you're urinating in the sink, which could be the same case if you do that in your actual house, you know, because in reality, your sink is right next to your toilet. So it's not really that far of a stretch, but people will make it be a stretch because it's all about trying to push narratives. I've been saying this a lot lately, you know, the media pushing narratives, people pushing narratives. Media wants you to be always upset, always triggered. So when things like this come about, a guy getting arrested, then it's, you know, this whole big deal. And you want to talk about that and then, you know, try to blame Trump, try to blame conservatives, trying to blame the police, more hate on the police. And the police do not deserve any kind of hate at all, especially in this case. They're following department policy. One thing I always hear from the left and some on the right is, oh, well, the police, they're acting out of pocket. They're not doing the right thing. They're going above and beyond department policy. Well, what they did here was actually in policy. It was the appropriate thing to do. Now, unfortunately, I think the police issued a statement where they apologize, talking about they're going to review the way these things are done in the future. There's no need for that, really. I understand the PR point of view, but there's no need for that. Mounted police has been around for a long time. It's not anything new. I remember days going down to the oceanfront in Virginia Beach for like spring break when I was a teenager, 17, 18 or whatever. And you would have the mounted police in the crowd. And you got to watch your step because it might be a horse patty on the ground. If you got some fresh Jordans on, you might want to watch your step. But anyway, it'd be guys going behind a 7-Eleven to urinate and the horse will run up on you. That's indecent exposure. You can't do that. I know a guy I was with had a horse run up on him, almost trampled him. Okay, so you got guys trying to avoid being trampled by the horse, and ain't nobody worried about that. We can laugh about it. It's not really a big deal. But this guy gets arrested for criminal trespass. He was caught on the spot. He had been warned several times, but was caught on the spot doing it. The police cuff him. They're not beating him. They're not dragging him. They're not hurting him. They're just walking him to the actual squad car. It's safe for everybody involved, but people want to talk about, it harkens back to slavery and a time where the slave catchers would come get you on the horses, that, and the third. Well, the same thing could be said about jail and the penitentiary in general. Chain gangs, they had chain gangs during slavery. Let's go all the way to the extreme and say that a black person should not be washing dishes or folding clothes or nothing like that because those same things were done during slavery. I mean, at what point do we just not be offended at everything? At what point do we just not equate everything that we see as some kind of way weird or strange to an offensive thing? Just think about it for a moment and use your brain and don't be guided by your emotions. That picture really was a nothing burger, brouhaha that amounted to nothing. It's just people just being upset because they want to be upset, because they want to find the thing to really be upset about. If the guy was to get trampled on his head, beat in for trespassing, then I understand that. But the guy was not hurt. It wasn't nothing that really happened. All that happened is people just got offended at the particular picture. They don't care about the background of it. They don't care about what he did. Even before it was revealed what he did, people were saying that it was wrong. This guy could have been an axe murderer for all you know, and you say, oh, it's wrong because he was walked with a horse attached to him. It's silly, but that's pretty much all I got to say about it. And what say you? Do you think that the mounted police in Galveston, Texas are racist for doing a department approved policy by guiding this guy with the horse after he had been arrested, having the line tethered from his handcuffs to the horse? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Would it have been racist if you had the black mounted officers doing the exact same thing to a white person that was caught doing criminal trespass? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or do you think that I'm correct? People are just overreacting. It's as much ado about nothing. That picture, I mean, come on. People just want to have something to complain about, to cry about, even when there's not really a thing to actually cry and complain about. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.